All right, let's pull back the curtain on a platform that has become the absolute heart of the software universe. I mean, this is a place that started as a pretty humble side project and just exploded into a tech titan, literally shaping the way our entire digital world gets built. This is the story of GitHub. But first, let me ask you a quick question. Just think about the apps you use every single day. Spotify, Duolingo, maybe your banking app. Have you ever actually stopped to wonder where all the millions of lines of code that make them work live? Well, for a truly staggering number of them, the answer starts with this number, 150 million. I mean, that's the population of a pretty big country, right? But we're not talking about citizens here. We're talking about developers, over 150 million of them, from the solo coder tinkering in their garage to huge teams of engineers at the biggest companies in the world. They all use one central place to build, ship, and maintain software. And that place, you guessed it, is GitHub. So what is it exactly? Well, the simplest way I've heard it described is like Google Docs track changes feature, but on steroids, and for all the code that basically runs our world. It's a platform where developers can keep their projects safe, see every single little change that's ever been made, and work together with anyone, anywhere on the planet. Now, this brings us to something that trips a lot of people up. The difference between Git and GitHub. Are they the same thing? Nope. Think of it like this. Git is the engine. It's this powerful open source tool that runs on your own computer and tracks all the changes. GitHub is the entire car. It's the sleek cloud platform that's built around that engine, adding the nice user interface, the project management tools, and all the social features that really made it take off. And those social features were the real key to its rocket ship rise. See, before GitHub, working on code together was, well, a mess. It was an isolating, frustrating process. GitHub turned it into a community. It wasn't just about storing your files anymore. It was about building something together. And that simple idea is what transformed it from a small, self-funded startup into a global titan. And the speed of that growth was just mind-blowing. It launched in 2008, and in just 2 years, it hit 1 million code projects, or repositories as they're called. By 2013, that number was already 10 million. And by 2023, we're talking about an almost unbelievable 420 million repositories. Developers didn't just adopt GitHub, they flocked to it. Why? Because it just made their lives easier. So with that kind of crazy growth, you can probably guess what happened next. The big money started to notice. After years of just running on its own steam, GitHub took its first major investment in 2012, a cool $100 million from the venture capital powerhouse Andreessen Horowitz. This was basically the moment the financial world stood up and said, okay, this thing is the real deal. And it didn't stop there. Just 3 years later, things got even clearer. After another round of funding in 2015, the company's valuation just skyrocketed to $2 billion. GitHub wasn't just a popular tool anymore. It was a certified tech unicorn. But believe it or not, that $2 billion valuation wasn't even the peak. It was really just the opening act for a truly blockbuster moment, a deal that was about to send shockwaves through the entire industry. And that, of course, brings us to the Microsoft acquisition. This was a huge chapter in the story, where one of the old guards of technology joined forces with the new heart of the developer world, and let's just say not everyone was thrilled about it at first. Here's the number that made everyone's jaw drop. $7.5 billion. In 2018, Microsoft paid that enormous sum to bring GitHub into the fold, and it was the clearest signal you could imagine of just how valuable the platform and its community had become. But the news was met with a ton of skepticism. The developer community, especially folks in the open source world, had let's call it a complicated history with Microsoft. A lot of people were genuinely worried that Microsoft would mishandle GitHub, kind of like they felt had happened with other acquisitions like Nokia and Skype. So why'd they do it? Well, this was all part of a new strategy under CEO Satya Nadella. This wasn't the old Microsoft anymore. The company was going all in on cloud services, and it had started to seriously embrace open source software. Buying GitHub gave them a direct line to millions of developers, and this is the crucial part. They promised to let it operate independently, to preserve the very community that made it so special. So this acquisition kicked off a whole new era for the platform. With Microsoft's backing, GitHub has evolved way beyond its origins. It's not just a place to store code anymore. It's become this complete end-to-end toolbox for the entire software development process. You can really see this evolution when you look at the modern GitHub ecosystem. I mean, sure, code hosting is still the core, but now it's surrounded by all these other tools for automation, for cutting-edge AI development, for application security, and for really sophisticated project management. It really has become a true all-in-one platform. And maybe the biggest game changer of all is Copilot. Seriously, this isn't just some fancy autocomplete. This is a full-on AI partner. It's powered by large language models, and it can write entire blocks of code, suggest fixes for bugs, and help developers build really complex stuff way faster than ever before. It's fundamentally changing how code is written. Another huge piece of the puzzle is something called GitHub Actions. This feature basically lets teams automate their entire workflow. So from testing new code to actually deploying it to users, it can all be done automatically without ever having to leave the platform. It's brilliant because it keeps developers right inside the GitHub world for every single step. But, when you have this much power and influence, well, that comes with immense responsibility, and that's led to some pretty serious challenges and controversies. Being the central nervous system for software development all around the world is definitely not a simple job. And these complexities are very, very real. The company has faced major internal backlash over a contract with U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement. It's had to walk the tightrope of U.S. sanctions, which meant blocking developers in countries like Iran and Syria. And it's had to deal with censorship demands from governments all over the globe. These are just the tough realities of being a global tech giant. So where does all this leave us? Let's talk about the future, not just for GitHub, but for software development as a whole, because at this point, the two are completely intertwined. The journey has been just incredible to watch. What started as just a better way to store and share code has morphed into this massive AI-powered platform. GitHub's evolution isn't just its own story anymore. It's actively shaping the future of how all technology is going to be built. So why does all this matter? Well, for one, GitHub is the heart of global collaboration for open source software, period. For two, its all-in-one ecosystem makes it the default platform for millions. And three, through incredible tools like Copilot, it's having a massive influence on the future of AI. The bottom line is, GitHub isn't just a player in the tech world, it's a driving force. And that leaves us with one final fascinating question to think about. As these AI tools like Copilot get better and better, to the point where they're starting to write their own code, what does that mean for the role of the human developer? What does human creativity and ingenuity even look like on a platform like GitHub in the years to come?